Hey folks, it's Kary Oberbrunner. I have with me a very special friend and teammate, and we are going to hear all about this incredible book that he has today. Today's the audiobook launch for We Are All Fireflies. Welcome, Travis.
It's good to be here, buddy.
Hey, listen, it's an honor. You are part of the Igniting Souls team, and you do so much for our authors. And I said the other day when I heard about your audiobook, I just said, listen, the Igniting Souls community, we want to come around you. We want to celebrate this book. I know that it's really impactful. I mean, you use the term words create worlds.
Indeed.
What does that mean?
Well, I learned in good ways and bad ways through my life that the words we speak in our mind create and influence the world, the life we're trying to live on the outside. So,
Mm,
those of us that have had painful past or unresolved conflict, or in my case, trauma, we develop these words, this story we begin to tell ourselves,
mm.
and we live under the belief systems we created during those experiences until we challenge them and change them.
Wow. You know, words are interesting, and by the way, Travis is showing up filled up here. His voice, he's had
Yeah, I've had laryngitis
laryngitis
for a week.
the last week. So if
Yes.
if I talk more than normal, it's to save my brother here. But he's doing great. But you know, I was in a meeting the other day, and we were talking about entrepreneurship and how entrepreneurship is really marketing before you manufacture. In other words, it's speaking something before it even physically happens. And words are powerful.
Yeah.
Um, we talk about the term spelling, and this is interesting, but I never thought about it before. But the person was saying that spelling, think about that, spelling, meaning in a way, it's magic.
Yes.
I mean, in a way, you're casting spells, not in a negative way, but for the person who might be a faith background, the word abracadabra means I create as I speak,
Yes. Yes.
or it came to pass as it was spoken. And words can be used for evil and good. God, of course, refers to Christ as the Word, the truth, the life. And so talk about that. I mean, people say all kinds of bad things about themselves, self-talk we call
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And you went through some trauma as a young child. What words, I mean, you don't need to tell me the exact words, but like how did language keep you trapped and stuck?
Well, what I learned and the hard way, I'm Scottish and hard headed, so I learned lessons the hard way. Um, the words we speak in our head create belief systems, and we live and operate out of those core belief systems. Just like if we eat healthy and exercise, it's because our core belief says that that's good for us and we want to live a long, healthy life. But if we've had painful experiences where we've tried to make sense out of chaos and we've told ourselves things like I did, I'm worthless and I'm unlovable, we may think that that's just a flippant thing, but what happens is that begins to birth an identity within us, and that identity becomes core beliefs. And even though we don't think about it all the time, it's like a hard drive in a computer. It's in our subconscious, and we operate under the power of those words, whether we know it or not.
Mm,
And that was me for 2/3 of my life, trying to live a good life, having a lot of great experiences in life, blessed with a great family, amazing friends, but constantly battling this internal narrative that I'm worthless and unlovable. And at any moment, the world and the people around me are going to find that out. So you're right. It is like casting a spell. And the brain doesn't delineate between good or bad. It speaks to us. We speak to ourselves out of our core beliefs, whether
mm.
it's good things or bad things. But those words, good or bad, create the world we live in, or at least the way we perceive our world. And so, even though I was fighting to live a great life all my life, love people, help people, I was constantly carrying around the burden that I was doing it from a place of worthlessness.
Wow. Wow, that is powerful. I've seen you speak. I've seen you at my conference. and you rocked the mic. You had quite an impact on people. But I think what it is, Travis, is it's your vulnerability.
Yes.
Not a lot of guys are willing to be open and to talk about something like abuse. How have you seen that your vulnerability and transparency has actually given other people permission to be real and open?
Well, it's infectious. You know, I grew up thinking like most people, and not to blame it on the culture, but we hear things all the time. Forget it. It's in the past. Get over it. Pick yourself up. You can't change it. And especially as men, we don't ask for help. We struggle to ask for help. And through the process of my own growth, which took a lot longer than I wished it had, I faced a lot of mistakes and poor choices. But when I finally uttered that word help, I learned that vulnerability is actually a superpower.
Mm,
Life is not lived on the battlefield or in the sports arena. Vulnerability may be a weakness there, but in real life, vulnerability means I'm willing to confront my inner self and be real. I'll tone down what I usually say to clients face to face, but it's all about owning our crap and speaking our truth.
mm,
And
mm.
when we do that, we can begin to unravel the bondage we're in and discover the true self we're meant to be.
So good. Why fireflies? What does that mean? Let's talk about the title of your.
Well, I'll try not to get emotional talking about that, but as a kid, anybody 40, 50 and up, there was a ton of fireflies around back then. We collected them in old mayonnaise jars. As a young child, I collected fireflies in a pecan orchard I lived next to. I would put them in my bedroom window at night. And in the midst of the first of 2 times I was sexually abused, I hoped that that light would protect me from what came in the
Mm,
darkness. And it
mm,
never did. And as life went about, and my family and I, we love nature and, we love life. I was sitting with a person years ago when I went through my healing journey, and I was telling him this story. And something he said to me was so profound. He goes, Travis, the light from those fireflies never was meant to help you. That's their light. How do you not know that you're the firefly and you've just lost connection to your own light? And at an emotional level, and especially as a believer at a spiritual level, I began to see that's true. No matter what I've gone through in life, I was created to be the person God created me to be. And I've just lost track of that by believing in this negative and destructive narrative that
mm.
because of my experiences and poor choices, I'm worthless and unlovable. So that's
Wow.
why fireflies are so deeply impactful and that's where the mantra of my book comes from. We carry all the light we will ever need to illuminate all the darkness we will ever face. And we do.
Mm.
Every potential to live the life God created as far as within us. It's just that sometimes life gets us off track. Our core beliefs become our greatest enemy, and we lose sight of that.
Amazing. By the way, is this your daughter here?
That's my wife.
Shut up.
But I'll tell her you said that, and it'll make her day.
All right, all right. Yeah, well, people say that about my wife, man, I'll tell you what. So let's talk about what you see happening with this book. We teach at Igniting Souls that your book is not a business card. It really is a business, and not that it's just about making money, but it's about increasing your influence, your impact, and your income.
Yes.
So what is the plan here?
Well, I believe timing is a divine thing. There's a lot of things I had hoped to have kicked off a while back, but here recently I've joined the Igniting Souls team. And what I'm excited about, the timing of launching this audiobook, is now I'm going to go into writing book 2, which is going to be the methodology and the process I learned in my own journey. But instead of book 1 being my story, this is going to be a blueprint for how anybody's story can take this process that I call mindset awareness and narrative integration and find their true self, whether it be in mental health issues, relationship issues, marriage problems, career paths. Our language inside our head is often our greatest enemy, but it's meant to be our greatest ally. And
Wow.
what I hope this audio, well, what I plan, not hope, this audiobook is going to launch is we're going to, in the next 30 days, launch an online community and then start launching some of the courses I've been working on. And, I've got a lofty goal that I want to personally be involved in creating a viral movement of impacting 1 million people or more to live life from the freedom God created them for.
Wow.
To find freedom from the bondage of their own internal narrative. Words create worlds, and I want to help people create the world that they were meant to live.
That's huge. That is huge. That's amazing. I know you have clients now. What are some of the clients saying? I mean, don't tell us like their names, but what impact are you seeing? Are you seeing transformation, breakthroughs? What are you seeing?
Well, I just had, I haven't had very many meetings this week with the laryngitis, but a couple I worked with for the last few months, I just finished seeing the wife on Zoom about an hour ago, and she made me cry. I said, "You can't make me cry, make me lose my voice." But she said, "I've been under this bondage of what happened to me for 10 years. And I've been in counseling, numerous places, numerous cities I've lived in, and you helping me see that it was all about the narrative I held on to. It's like things are beginning to unravel. And every day I go by, the light just becomes brighter and brighter. And that's why I do what I do. And that's why I embrace vulnerability, because I want to be a model to help other people do that." And it's happening not just with mental health. I work with marriages that are in trouble. I work with people that are stuck in a career path, and to help them discover and see the light that it's not circumstances or industry or economy. It's their own internal belief system that's holding them back from the hopes and dreams they have to start a business, to move into this job, and helping people become their greatest ally instead of their own greatest enemy. It makes my day.
So good. So good. This is fantastic. So, Travis, let's talk about the actual book itself. I know a lot of authors, they wait and wait and wait and never do an audiobook. I'm so glad you did an audiobook, because people can now access it while they do other things, perhaps commuting or exercising or doing yard work. I think it's powerful when we listen to the word. Why did you believe that audio was the way to go?
Well, I got to give the credit to about 15 or 20 clients because a lot of times I make my book, one of the books, as I do with a couple of yours, part of their journey. And I kept having clients over the last 2 years tell me, "I love your story. I hear your story. And you've told me snippets of it sitting here in the office. I want to hear you tell the story that I've read."
Wow.
I got to be honest, even though I had gone through my own journey, I had to deal with a little bit of those old worth narratives. Like, who wants to hear me talking on a book? If I'm going to do it, let me hire somebody. I got laryngitis now, but I'm 50 to 60% deaf. So I don't think I enunciate well sometimes. So there I was being my own worst enemy. Till a friend of mine, a friend of ours that's a sound engineer, he said, "People don't want perfection when they listen to your book. They want you." And so he got me over that hump, and I stood by the promise to those clients that I will give you what you're asking for, and maybe a few other people will want it as well.
That's great. That's so good. Let's talk about the internal order of the book. So I love clicking the look inside. I kind of am nerdy like that. So to me, this look inside feature is so good because your chapters are like signposts.
Yes.
And you're really telling readers, look, here's where we're going in the journey. So walk us through a little bit of the order. First of all, I had the honor of writing the foreword, and I loved
Thank you.
I loved it. And I know you're part of our mastermind that we've done, which we've been doing this mastermind for, I think, 5 or 6 years. This is really the final year. So I'm glad that you jumped in and said yes. And we've had a blast in that. But It's been neat to see you in the mastermind share your gifts with the other people, but go into this whole pre-part one aspect.
Yeah, the note to the reader was I wanted to really set up that the core crux of your journey from whatever bondage you're in to the life that you're meant to live is about belief. Belief is very powerful. Actually, I believe belief is so powerful. I really don't think there's such thing as unbelief. I think we just believe in the wrong things, and that blocks us from the belief we're meant to live in.
Oh, see, we got to unpack that for a second. You said that the other day, and I never thought of it that way. You say there's no such thing as unbelief. We all believe what? Like, unpack that, because that was deep.
Well, it's like a client I've worked here recently that doesn't believe in themselves enough, and they feel like they're too old to chase a new career. And he said, "Well, I just don't believe I have the ability. I've got so much unbelief." And I said, "No, you don't. You just have belief that you're going to be a failure." It was a paradigm shift for him because he was battling unbelief, which is almost like an invisible demon. But when you can hold on to something tangible and say, okay, I'm not believing in the journey I desire for myself, but I'm believing in the fact that I'm going to fail as soon as I can take a step. And so it gave us something more tangible to handle. So, I mean, I know I may be splitting hairs on words, but
Yeah, I think that's deep.
unbelief is just a belief in something opposite of what our heart desires.
That's huge. That could be a mic drop right there. And what I mean by that is that the person who says, I don't believe I can do it. I don't believe. What
Yeah.
they're basically saying is, no, it's not, I don't believe I can do it. It's, I believe that I'm incapable.
Yeah.
Wow, that's powerful.
And it really gives us something more tangible to work with. It's just a little shift in perspective.
That's huge. See, that's why you're a good coach right here.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's talk about these redeeming your past and the 4 Ds.
Yeah, the 4 Ds are about when someone comes to me, they've got some level of bondage. So the first section of the book is about moving from bondage to freedom. And that's where the belief really starts to kick in. We deal with what we're believing in wrongly. So the first thing is raising awareness to the fact that I even carry a narrative inside my head. Most people don't pay attention to that inner voice unless it tells them, I'm hungry, feed me, I'm sleepy, go to bed. But we're telling ourselves a story 24/7. It's like we're keeping a journal 24/7. And so the discover is all about discovering that there is a narrative. Disclosing is about looking at my current life situation, career failures, marriage falling apart, wrought with anxiety, and making the connection to the fact that my current state of being is connected to core beliefs developed in my past.
Totally.
And then the disclose and the decipher and the dismantle is about reaching the point that we say, okay, this is where I'm at. I'm accepting that my journey starts here. And the dismantle is taking all of those negative core beliefs and flipping them upside down and turning lies into truth. Dismantling all the limiting beliefs that we've been living by. And before we finish the first section, and this is the process I work with clients through, when we get from what would be chapter 4 to part 2, we've got to be able to say, I believe I am free. And when we do that, then the reclaiming your present is about the fact that I've lived life long enough in this bondage, whatever it is, like in my case, feeling like I'm worthless and unlovable, that it does some damage to the system, which is us, right? It's kind of like when we have a car and we're going on a vacation. The car is running, the car gets us from point A to point B. But before we go on the long vacation, we take it in for a checkup. And so this second part is about saying, okay, I am free, but now I need to see what damage was done to the core system. And God kind of downloaded these 4 words in me. Vision is about how I see the world with these new free eyes, how I see myself in the world. And we do some self-checks. Voice is about how am I going to manage that inner voice now that I'm fully aware of it. Velocity is about how I move through life. capturing how much energy I'm giving to woulda, coulda, shouldn't in the past and what if and in the future, because life is only going to be lived the way God intended it for it to be when we embrace the present. That's the only place we can grow. It's the only place we can learn. It's the only place we can truly encounter self and one another in God. It's in the present. And then value is simply what it is. It's learning from this free place now to value myself for who I am. Flawed but growing.
Wow. Wow.
And
So,
then reimagine. Go ahead.
yeah, I was just going to say, folks, this is the type of book where, again, it's simple but deep. And I know that's an oxymoron, but it's true. It's like, it's simple, and he's a good communicator. He puts I say that you put the cookies on the bottom shelf, where we all can get them, but it's very deep. So I would encourage everybody, get the audiobook, get it. It just came out. You can hear it in Travis's voice. I love audiobooks. I probably have done 30 audiobooks in the last 12 months. I just looked at my Audible subscription. I have over 150 since I've been a member. But people say, how do you read so much? I get the audio first, and if I love it, then I'll get the physical book. So let's keep going. Part 3, reimagining your future.
So the reimagining your future is saying, okay, now let's embrace expectancy. Let's embrace the life we were meant for. But let's acknowledge that life is not going to be perfect, because none of us are perfect. So obstacles are going to come. But now, from this new place of freedom and healed self, now let's develop some core mindsets that when the going gets tough, we've got a foundation to stand on. And when things are good, we've got some guideposts to grow. And so these 8 words, they were 8 random words that God kind of gave me back in 2011, the year after my dad died. I don't even know why. I just dreamed these words, and then I left them alone and didn't know what to do with them. And when I was agonizing over how to finish the book, how to make it more about just a story of somebody that's a nobody to the general world population, how do I leave them something that's for them to take? And these 8 words popped up. And so really it's just what they are. It's hunger. What do I hunger for in the world? And is it healthy or unhealthy? So like you say, this section of the book is very, what I tell clients, it's plain, but it's profound. It's a guidepost and a roadmap for assessing how do I hunger? What do I hunger for day to day? And is it something that's moving me forward in life, or is it something that's holding me back? And then embracing the power of thankfulness and gratitude, and understanding the mindset that puts us in when we unleash the power of it. Awe is a word we don't use much anymore, but learning how to be awed. Wrestling, we're going to wrestle in life because life has challenges, but let's be sure what we're wrestling with, our time, energy, and effort that we're putting into wrestling, is something that's moving us forward in our path and not wasting time. And then the last 4 are personal. Intimacy, my role in the world around me, whether it's with individuals or others, embracing our imperfections and understanding the power of connections. Symphony is understanding what role I play. I talk about the garbage man in my city and the triangle player in a symphony, how in the world's view, they're very small roles, but how they deeply embrace those roles and live rich lives because they understand their role according to their giftedness and their God call.
Yeah.
Dance. I start out talking about dance, really. I say, look, the healthiest thing you can do, whether you think you've got rhythm or not, is listen to a great song and start your day dancing for 10 minutes. Move. But then we go on the metaphor of how to move through life in rhythm and not creating our own chaos. It's about mindset. And then story is all about reminding people that we are all wired to be creators. It doesn't mean we have to create pottery or great paintings, but we're all wired to be creators. And the world constantly pushes us into this mold to be consumers. And that's why we have so much anxiety and depression and sadness and problems in life, because we're living life as these consumers take. And we're looking for peace and joy. And peace and joy only comes when we learn to create according to our giftedness.
That's so good. You have quite a crowd here. You have Maureen Sharphouse, #1 Amazon bestseller, international. Love her. She's coming here to support you. You have Sandra, amazing author. Ricky, amazing author. Tanisha, incredible soul on fire. Lynn, you have Dana. You have all kinds of people, blowing up, man. I just think that everyone that we just named and even more, you've had an impact. Rochelle, all the way from London, so you got people here that care about you, that believe in you, and they've seen the power of your message. We are all fireflies, Jill as well. So I'll tell you what, man, we're landing the plane here, but we have your website and it was already shared, travismwhite.com.
Yes.
The book is on Amazon, available now in all 4 versions.
Yeah.
Hardcover, ebook, audio, and soft cover.
Absolutely.
You're launching your community. Amazing things are happening. You are such a servant with the Igniting Souls. It's amazing. I forget. Are you officially an employee?
Yes.
Excellent.
As of January 1.
Excellent. And I don't keep track of all those labels, so that's why I didn't know. But I know you've been with us for a long time, and it's just amazing. You and I together are on with private clients almost every day, and I see your expertise. I see your superpower. You could be doing a lot of stuff, but you're igniting souls in a variety of ways. I'll let you have the last 60 seconds here, and then we'll land the plane. So what do you want to say to the person?
I want to say one thing and then leave them with a reminder of my mantra. First of all, life is tough and nobody's perfect. And you can focus on the negative and the flaws and your shortcomings and your mistakes. Or you can say, you know what? God's got me. And he can make what he wants to out of me. And he created me for a purpose. And no matter what confronts us in life, we have hopes and dreams that we should embrace, because we do all carry the light we will ever need to illuminate all the darkness we'll ever face. And it's my life's passion to ignite that in people and see them be all that their heart desires and all that God intended for them to be.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, Travis, I know you are continuing to create new worlds with your words, and I'm so proud of you. And I know the whole Igniting Souls community is, as well as your community. So thanks, my friend. Keep igniting souls.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's been a blessing.
Get that voice healed, and you crushed it today. So thank you so much.
Have a great day, everyone.
We'll see you.